Jasper Morgan never meant to crash land on a crystal planet. As a space artist, he'd spent years traveling the galaxy's outer rim, capturing the beauty of distant nebulae and star clusters in his digital paintings. His small craft, the palette, was equipped with everything he needed: advanced imaging equipment, a compact living space, and enough supplies to last months in deep space. But none of that mattered when his ship's navigation system failed during a solar storm. The palette spiraled through the atmosphere of an unmarked planet, its surface gleaming like scattered diamonds under twin purple suns. Jasper managed to engage emergency landing protocols before impact, but the crash still knocked him unconscious. When he came to, he found himself lying on a bed that seemed to be made of flowing crystal, in a chamber that pulsed with soft, ambient light. "You're awake." The voice was melodic, almost musical, and it belonged to the most beautiful being Jasper had ever seen. She appeared humanoid, but her skin had a translucent quality that caught and reflected light in mesmerizing patterns. Long, flowing hair seemed to shimmer between silver and pale blue, and her eyes were like perfectly cut amethysts. "I'm Solana," she said, approaching his bedside. "You're fortunate I found you before the crystal storms began." Jasper tried to sit up, wincing at the pain in his ribs. "I'm Jasper Morgan, where am I?" "You're in the heart of Lumeria, the last crystal city." Solana's expression grew somber. "Though I fear you've arrived at a rather unfortunate time, our world is dying." As if to emphasize her point, the crystalline walls around them trembled slightly, and the ambient light flickered. Jasper noticed now that Solana's hands were moving in gentle, flowing motions, and wherever they passed, the crystal structures seemed to stabilize. "You're controlling the crystals," he observed, his artist's eye captivated by the way light danced through her movements. A small smile graced her features. "I'm a crystal weaver, the last of my kind. We maintain the resonance that keeps our city alive." She paused, studying him with curious eyes. "But you're different. There's something about your energy signature that's unlike anything I've encountered." Jasper reached for his digital tablet, which had somehow survived the crash. "I'm an artist," he explained, pulling up one of his recent works, a stunning rendition of a binary star system. "I travel space, capturing its beauty." Solana's eyes widened as she looked at the image, her fingers hovering over the screen as if she could feel the colors themselves. "You paint with light and color the way I weave with crystal," she whispered. "I've never seen anything like it." Their eyes met, and Jasper felt something shift in the air between them, like the first notes of a symphony beginning to play. The crystal walls around them seemed to pulse in response, creating patterns that mirrored the colors in his painting. "That's never happened before," Solana said, wonder in her voice. She reached for his hand, and when their fingers touched, the entire chamber lit up with swirling colors, crystal formations growing and shifting in harmony with the display. "It's responding to us," Jasper realized, watching as his art and her crystal weaving merged into something entirely new. "Together, we're creating something different." Solana's grip on his hand tightened slightly. Perhaps this is why you were brought here. Our world is losing its resonance, its connection to the crystal heart that sustains us, but your art combined with my weaving." She trailed off, hope brightening her ethereal features. Before she could finish her thought, a deep tone reverberated through the chamber, like a massive bell being struck. Solana's expression shifted to concern. "The Council of Luminaries summons me," she explained, reluctantly releasing his hand. The spectacular light show faded, though traces of color still rippled through the crystal walls. "Rest now, Jasper Morgan. When I return, we have much to discuss about your arrival here. I believe it may be more than mere chance that brought you to our dying world." As she moved toward the chamber entrance, her form seeming to flow like liquid crystal, Jasper found himself entranced. He'd traveled the galaxy searching for beauty to capture in his art, but nothing had prepared him for Solana. In just these few moments, she had awakened something in him that went beyond artistic inspiration. The crystal walls pulsed gently, almost like a heartbeat, and Jasper could have sworn they were responding to his thoughts of her. He smiled, reaching for his tablet to begin a new piece, one that would capture the ethereal beauty of this crystal world and the extraordinary being who had saved him. Little did he know that this was just the beginning of a story that would change not only his life, but the fate of an entire civilization. All because a space artist crashed on a crystal planet and met a woman who could weave light itself. In the days following his crash landing, Jasper found himself increasingly captivated by both Solana and the crystal city of Lumeria. The entire city was a work of art, towers that spiraled toward the purple sky, bridges that seemed to float on air, and everywhere the constant dance of light through crystal. But beneath the beauty lay darkness. The crystal formations were slowly losing their luminescence, patches of dullness spreading like disease through once brilliant structures. Jasper noticed how Solana's shoulders would tense whenever she passed these darkened areas, her hands moving in increasingly complex patterns as she tried to restore their light. The resonance is weakening faster than before, she confided one evening as they stood on a balcony overlooking the city. Her silver-blue hair caught the light of the setting suns, creating a halo effect that made Jasper's fingers itch for his drawing tools. The council refuses to accept that our old ways are failing. Jasper had been working on a new piece, trying to capture the unique way light moved through Lumeria's crystal spires. But at Solana's words, he set aside his tablet. "Tell me about the council." Solana's amethyst eyes clouded with worry. The Council of Luminaries consists of the oldest crystal singers in our society. They believe that maintaining tradition is the only way to save our world. She created a small crystal formation in her palm, but unlike her usual work, this one was rigid and lifeless. Like this, they keep trying to force the crystal to behave as it always has instead of listening to how it wants to change. With gentle fingers, Jasper touched the crystal in her palm. To both their surprise, it responded, colors from his latest artwork flowing into the structure, making it pulse with new life. Solana gasped, her fingers intertwining with his around the crystal. "That's extraordinary," a new voice said, causing them to jump apart. A tall figure emerged from the shadows, Regent Caspian, head of the council, his crystalline skin so ancient it had become nearly opaque. "Though I fear it only confirms our worst suspicions." More council members appeared, their faces stern. "You've corrupted the pure crystal resonance with foreign energy," one accused, pointing at Jasper. "This outlander's influence must be contained before he destroys what little harmony we have left." "No," Solana stepped between Jasper and the council members. "Can't you see? The crystal responds to him differently because it's evolving, just as it did when our ancestors first learned to sing to it." Jasper watched in awe as Solana stood her ground, her form seeming to grow more luminous with passion. The crystal walls around them responded, pulsing with a rhythm that matched her emotions. "The crystal heart of our world is dying," she continued, her voice taking on a musical quality that made the very air vibrate. "We need new songs, new ways of connecting with it. Jasper's art, combined with our crystal weaving, it could be the key to our survival." Regent Caspian's expression remained unmoved. "You overstep your bounds, young weaver. The council has decreed that the outlander must be confined to the lower levels, away from the sacred crystal heart, until we can arrange his departure." But as guards moved to separate them, something unexpected happened. Every crystal surface in the chamber began to glow, responding to Jasper's surge of protective instinct toward Solana. His artwork on the nearby tablet came alive, its colors flowing into the crystal structures, creating patterns never before seen in Lumeria. The council members stepped back, murmuring in astonishment. Regent Caspian's stern expression flickered with uncertainty. "This is unprecedented." Solana's hand found Jasper's, and where they touched, the crystal song grew stronger. "This is proof," she declared. "The crystal heart recognizes him, accepts him. Our world is choosing its own path to survival." Later that night, safely hidden in Solana's private chambers, they tried to process what had happened. "I've never seen the crystal respond so strongly to anyone but a weaver," Solana said, packing the room. Each step left traces of luminescence in her wake, like stardust falling from her feet. Jasper watched her, his artist's eye capturing every detail, every play of light across her crystalline skin. "Maybe it's not about being a weaver or an artist," he suggested. "Maybe it's about what happens when different ways of seeing beauty come together." Solana stopped packing, turning to face him. The look in her eyes made his heart skip. "Different ways of seeing beauty," she repeated softly, moving closer. "Like us." The crystal walls around them began to pulse with soft, warm light as Jasper stood to meet her. "Like us," he agreed, reaching for her hand. Their first kiss was like a supernova of sensation, light and color exploding around them as their lips met, the crystal song of Lumeria rising to a crescendo. When they finally parted, both were breathing hard, and the entire chamber sparkled with new life. "The council won't accept this easily," Solana whispered against his lips. Jasper smiled, touching his forehead to hers. "Then we'll just have to show them something so beautiful they can't deny it." He reached for his tablet with his free hand, already seeing in his mind's eye how his art could merge with her crystal weaving to create something unprecedented, something that might save not just their love but her entire world. Deep within the crystal heart chamber of Lumeria, Jasper and Solana worked in secret during the quiet hours of night. The massive central crystal pulsed weakly, its once brilliant light now dim and faltering. But where they worked together, new life sparked through the ancient crystal formations. "Look at this," Solana breathed, her hands moving in graceful patterns while Jasper projected his latest artwork through his tablet. Where her crystal weaving met his digital light paintings, the crystals began to sing with a new resonance. Colors that had never existed in Lumeria before bloomed through the structures, creating patterns that seemed to dance with their own consciousness. It's like they're learning, Jasper observed, adjusting the color palette of his work. Every time we combine our abilities, the crystal responds differently, more strongly. He couldn't help but notice how the same could be said for their relationship. Each moment together deepened their connection, their hearts beating in rhythm with the crystal's song around them. Solana moved closer, her crystalline skin reflecting the colors of his artwork. The ancient texts speak of something called the convergence, a mythical state where crystal and consciousness become one. The council dismissed it as legend, but what if? She took his hand, and immediately the crystals around them flared with increased brilliance. What if we're rediscovering it? Jasper finished her thought, pulling her closer. Not just between crystal weaver and crystal, but between different forms of art, different species, different hearts. Their eyes met, and in that moment, the crystal heart chamber erupted with light. Jasper's artwork began flowing through the crystal structures without his tablet's projection, while Solana's crystal weaving took on colors and patterns she'd never created before. The very air seemed to vibrate with possibility. "This is what they fear," Solana whispered, though her voice held wonder rather than worry. "Not that our way will fail, but that it will succeed and change everything they've known." Jasper was about to respond when a new sound echoed through the chamber: footsteps. They quickly dimmed their work, but not before a figure emerged from the shadows. Both tensed, expecting another council member, but instead found Solana's younger sister, Roselle. Unlike Solana's silver-blue hair, Roselle's flowed in shades of rose gold, and her eyes held more pink than purple. She was supposed to be the next crystal weaver in line, but the weakening resonance had prevented her from fully connecting with the crystal heart. "I felt it," Roselle said, her eyes wide with wonder. "All the way in the apprentice quarters, the crystal. It's singing again, really singing, not just echoing old songs." Solana moved to her sister's side, taking her hands. "Watch," she said, nodding to Jasper. He began a new piece, this one inspired by the way Lumerian light played through Solana's hair. As the artwork took shape, Solana guided Roselle's hands in the traditional weaving patterns. To everyone's amazement, the crystal responded to Roselle's touch as it hadn't in years. The young apprentice laughed in delight as colors swirled around her fingers. "I can feel it. The connection, it's like it was always there, just waiting for a new way of seeing," Jasper supplied, smiling as he watched the sisters work together. "The crystal heart isn't dying, it's evolving, trying to teach her people to evolve with it." Their moment of triumph was interrupted by a deep rumbling throughout the city. The crystal heart flickered dangerously, and sections of the chamber's walls began to darken. Roselle stumbled, and Solana caught her. "The degradation is accelerating," Solana said, her voice tight with concern. "We're running out of time." Jasper looked at his artwork, then at the two sisters. An idea began to form, dangerous, perhaps impossible, but filled with potential. What if we taught others, not just crystal weavers, but anyone who can appreciate beauty, create art, make music? "Open the crystal heart to everyone," Roselle gasped. "The council would never allow it." "They might not have a choice," Solana said, her expression determined as she watched another section of crystal fade to darkness. "Not if we can prove it's the only way to save our world." Jasper pulled up his tablet's communication system. "My art collective back on Earth, they're all creators, dreamers, people who see beauty in unexpected ways. If I could contact them." "You'd bring more Outlanders here?" Roselle asked, but there was hope rather than accusation in her voice. "Not to replace your ways," Jasper assured her, reaching for Solana's hand. "To add to them, to help create something entirely new." Solana squeezed his hand and the crystal heart pulsed slightly brighter. "A convergence of hearts," she said softly, "of worlds." They worked through the night, Jasper teaching Roselle basic digital art techniques while Solana wove increasingly complex crystal patterns. With each passing hour, the chamber grew brighter, the crystal song stronger. And with each shared smile, each brush of hands, each moment of shared creation, Jasper and Solana's hearts grew closer. As the first light of Lumeria's twin suns began to filter through the crystal spires, they knew there was no turning back. They had discovered something powerful, not just a way to save the crystal heart, but a truth about love itself, that the most beautiful harmonies come from different songs learning to sing together. The message from Earth arrived as Lumeria's twin suns set, casting the crystal city in shadows of deep purple and gold. Jasper stood on the observation deck of the crystal heart chamber, his tablet displaying the response from his art collective. Their words brought both hope and heartache. "They're coming," he told Solana, who had been weaving subtle patterns of light through a failing crystal section. 20 of Earth's most creative minds, artists, musicians, dancers. They'll be here within 2 lunar cycles." Solana's hands stilled, her amethyst eyes meeting his. That's wonderful news, but she could read the conflict in his expression just as clearly as she could read the crystal's songs. But the Earth Coalition has conditions, Jasper continued, his voice heavy. They're treating this as first contact with a new civilization. They want me to return to Earth immediately to brief them on Lumerian culture, biology, and, he hesitated, potential risks. The crystal walls around them dimmed slightly, reflecting Solana's falling heart. How long would you be gone? That's the thing, Jasper set down his tablet, moving closer to her. Once I leave Lumeria's atmosphere, the crystal radiation that's been changing my cellular structure will begin to reverse. If I stay away too long, I might lose my ability to connect with the crystal heart completely. This was the cruel truth they discovered over the past weeks. Jasper's unique connection to Lumeria's crystals wasn't just about his art. The planet itself had been slowly altering him, making him more like the Lumerians. The faint luminescence that had begun to appear beneath his skin wasn't just a reflection of the crystal light, it was becoming part of him. So you must choose, Solana whispered, her fingers tracing the subtle glow along his forearm. Earth or Lumeria, your old life, or, she couldn't finish. Or you, Jasper completed the thought, catching her hand and pulling her close. My life as a human or a future as something new here with you. Their embrace caused the crystals around them to pulse with warmth, creating a cocoon of light that seemed to shut out the rest of the world. But reality couldn't be held at bay for long. The chamber door slid open, revealing Regent Caspian and several council members. Your experiment has gone far enough, Caspian announced, his ancient crystalline form radiating disapproval. Word of your unauthorized teaching has spread. Now even common citizens are attempting to connect with the crystal heart. You risk destroying what little stability we have left. Look around you, Jasper gestured to where Roselle had been teaching a group of young Lumerians earlier. The crystals in that section glowed brighter than they had in months. The heart grows stronger with each new connection. Your people are awakening to their own potential. Our ways have preserved us for millennia, another council member argued. This outlander influence is exactly what the crystal heart has been waiting for, Solana interrupted, her voice carrying the musical resonance of a master crystal weaver. Can't you feel it? The song is changing, growing, becoming something greater than before. As if to emphasize her point, the massive crystal heart pulsed with sudden brightness, sending waves of color throughout the chamber. Where the light touched the council members, their own crystalline forms responded, briefly glowing with colors they hadn't manifested in years. Regent Caspian stumbled slightly, caught off guard by the strength of the resonance. For a moment his stern facade cracked, revealing a glimpse of wonder, but he quickly composed himself. The Outlander has received a recall notice from his world, Caspian stated, and Jasper realized the council must have intercepted the Earth transmission. He will return to brief his people, and we will consider their proposal for cultural exchange. Under proper supervision and restrictions, of course. And if I choose to stay, Jasper challenged, his arm still around Solana's waist. Then you will be forcibly removed, Caspian's voice hardened. We cannot risk further contamination of our sacred traditions. Solana tensed beside him, and Jasper felt a surge of protective anger. The crystals around them flared in response, creating a barrier between them and the council members. But Solana placed a gentle hand on his chest. My love, she said softly, the first time she had used the word aloud. Perhaps this is the path we must take. Go to Earth, bring back those who can help us show the council that change doesn't mean destruction. And, her voice wavered slightly, if you choose to return to me, let it be with full knowledge of what you'd be giving up. Jasper looked into her eyes, seeing the pain and hope mingled there. He thought of Earth, its oceans and forests, its bustling cities and quiet mountains. His art collective, his family, everything he had ever known. Then he looked at Solana, at the way light lived in her skin and song flowed through her movements, at the love that had grown between them as naturally as crystals formed in Lumeria's depths. 3 lunar cycles, he said finally, addressing both Solana and the council. Give me 3 cycles to return with Earth's representatives, to prove that our worlds are stronger together than apart. And then, he touched Solana's cheek, watching colors dance where their skin met, then I'll make my final choice. As the council members left to prepare for his departure, Jasper held Solana close, memorizing every detail of her. The crystal heart hummed around them, its song both mournful and hopeful, a perfect reflection of their hearts as they faced their first separation, not knowing if it would be temporary or eternal. 3 lunar cycles felt like an eternity. Each day on Earth, Jasper could feel the crystal resonance fatting from his body, like colors washing out of a painting left too long in the sun. But his heart's connection to Solana remained undiminished, growing stronger with each artwork he created to show his world the beauty of Lumeria. When he finally returned to the crystal planet, his ship carried not just the 20 artists he'd promised, but also the hopes of two worlds. The sight that greeted them took his breath away. The crystal city now pulsed with new colors, and where there had once been dimming sectors, fresh growth sparkled in the light of the twin suns. Solana waited for him in the heart chamber, more radiant than ever. The moment their eyes met, every crystal in the chamber blazed to life, reflecting the joy of their reunion. She ran to him, and their embrace sent waves of light cascading through the city's crystal network. "Welcome home," she whispered against his lips, and in those two words Jasper found his answer. This was where he belonged. "The council has seen the truth," she told him as they walked through the transformed city. "When you left, something extraordinary happened. The crystal heart began teaching us, showing us memories of ancient times when our ancestors first learned to sing to the crystals. They weren't born with the ability, they learned it, just as your Earth artists are learning now." Indeed, throughout the city, Jasper could see small groups gathering, Earth artists working alongside Lumerians, sharing their different approaches to creation. A dancer's movements inspired new patterns in crystal weaving, while a musician's songs created unprecedented resonances in the crystal structures. The convergence wasn't just about crystals and consciousness, Jasper realized, watching a young Earth painter work with Roselle to create a living mural of light and crystal. It was about bringing different worlds together. Their wedding ceremony, held one cycle later, became a celebration of this truth. In the grand crystal heart chamber, before representatives of both worlds, Jasper and Solana prepared to demonstrate the full power of their united abilities. "Are you ready?" Solana asked, her hand in his as they faced the massive crystal heart. She wore a gown that seemed woven from starlight itself, while Jasper's ceremonial robes shimmered with embedded crystal fragments that responded to his emotions. "With you, always," he replied, raising his free hand toward his tablet, now modified with Lumerian crystal technology. They began their performance, a symphony of art and crystal weaving unlike anything either world had seen. Jasper's digital paintings came alive, flowing through the crystal structures that Solana wove into existence. Their creation told the story of their love, of two different beings from two different worlds who found something extraordinary in their differences. As the display reached its peak, Jasper felt the change begin. The crystal resonance that had been fatting from his cells suddenly surged back, stronger than ever. But this time it wasn't just changing him, he was choosing it, embracing the transformation with full awareness and love. His skin began to glow with its own inner light, taking on the crystalline quality of the Lumerians. But unlike them, his transformation carried traces of his human artistry, swirls of color that moved beneath the surface like living paintings, marking him as something entirely new. The crystal heart pulsed with approval, and its song spread throughout the city, touching every being present. In that moment, the ancient prophecy of the convergence was fulfilled, not as the council had imagined, but as something far more beautiful, a bridge between worlds built on love and creativity. "The crystal heart has blessed their union," Regent Caspian announced, his once stern voice now filled with wonder, "and in doing so has shown us the way forward." Later, as Lumeria's sun set and the crystal city glowed with celebrations, Jasper and Solana stood on their private balcony, watching Earth artists and Lumerians mingling below, each learning from the other, creating new forms of beauty. "Do you regret your choice?" Solana asked softly, touching the crystalline patterns that now graced his skin. Jasper smiled, pulling her close. Where their bodies met, their inner light merged, creating patterns of impossible beauty. "How could I regret choosing love? Besides," he gestured to the scene below, "I haven't lost Earth. I've helped build a bridge between our worlds." "And what happens next?" she asked, her amethyst eyes sparkling with mischief and love. "Next," Jasper laughed, spinning her in a dance that left trails of light in their wake. "Next, we keep creating, keep discovering, keep loving. After all," he pulled her into a kiss that sent ripples of light through the crystal heart of their city, "we have two worlds of beauty to explore together." The crystal heart chimed softly in approval, its song now carrying notes of both Earth's passion and Lumeria's grace. And in that harmony, Jasper and Solana found their forever, a love story written in light, crystal, and the infinite possibilities that arise when two different worlds dare to dream as one.